There are fresh reports of demonstrations across Iran tonight in several areas of the capital, Tehran, as well as cities in the north and west of the country. An internet blackout remains in place as Iranian authorities indicate they plan to intensify their crackdown on the biggest anti-government demonstrations in years, with the Revolutionary Guards blaming unrest on terrorists. Human rights groups are reporting scores of deaths among the protesters.
Last night, in cities across Iran, the routine of recent weeks was repeated once again. Protesters on the streets issuing a challenge to the country's rulers. The internet blackout, imposed by authorities since Thursday, remains in place, making communication increasingly difficult, but not impossible, as images like this continue to emerge. Among them, video footage of a mosque in Tehran burning, as protesters can be heard chanting, "Death to the dictator." The man at whom their ire is directed, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has warned of a crackdown against the demonstrations, with Iran's Revolutionary Guards saying that safeguarding security is a red line. The man, fast emerging as a prominent opposition voice, urged demonstrators to seize the city centres and called for a nationwide strike. Reza Pahlavi is the exiled son of Iran's last Shah, who was toppled after widespread demonstrations almost 5 decades ago.
Crowds take to the streets of Tehran.
The current protests, which began late last month in response to soaring inflation and a currency in freefall, pose one of the biggest challenges in years to Iran's ruling authorities, making their eventual outcome deeply unpredictable. Fiona Mitchell, RTE News.
Well, Fawaz Gerja is Professor of Middle Eastern Politics and International Relations at the London School of Economics, spoke to me just before coming on air. And I began by asking him what is making this the most difficult challenge the regime has faced.
Well, I would argue this is the most dangerous moment in the Islamic republics in the past 4 decades. Iran is facing a perfect storm, the convergence of domestic vulnerabilities and international threats. And the next few days and next few weeks will show whether the Islamic Republic will be able to overcome these severe challenges and basically survive. It's a very, very serious situation.
And will the test be bigger than it was in the past? Simply the authorities responding with brutal force, the Republican Guard in particular, who we've seen in the past quash such demonstrations?
I have no doubts in my mind that the Revolutionary Guards and the authorities will basically clamp down very, very hard in the next few days if the protests continue. I fear a bloodbath in Iran, because this is really a survival war, a war of survival for the clerics in Iran, because they have already accused the protesters of being traitors, rioters, agents of foreign governments like the United States and Israel.
And what would you consider the role of the international community? And I mean that in the context of a weakened Russia, an emboldened Trump. What impact could that have on what's happening now?
Obviously, President Trump has been threatening Iran and has pouring basically gasoline on a raging fire. But I think what Donald Trump should do is to basically leave the Iranian people alone to determine their own affairs. He is cynically manipulating the legitimate grievances of Iranians, and the Iranian regimes try to delegitimize the protesters by saying, look, they're taking orders from Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Professor Fawaz Gerja, thank you for speaking to us this evening.
Thanks for having me.